Hello, my name is Jouni Vilkka and this is my channel TFF Teacher from Finland. Previously, I explained the basic idea of contractarianism and how it led to the idea of rights. In this video, which is part of my series Introduction to Ethics and within it the part about normative ethics, I will focus on the concept of rights. But first, I would like to ask you to consider subscribing to my channel and clicking the thumbs up button. The concept of right discussed here is not right as in right or wrong, but as in a right to something. For example, the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights lists various rights that all signatory countries accept all humans to have. It begins by stating that all humans are born free and equal. Some of the rights listed are the right to not be subjected to arbitrary arrest, the right to seek asylum in another country to escape persecution, the right to having a nationality, the right to own property, the right to peaceful assembly, and many others. A more specific list of rights was provided in international covenants on economic, social and cultural rights and on political rights. Clearly, these documents are contracts in the sense of contractarianism. The rights enshrined in them are the results of discussions on the International Forum of the UN and others. The guarantor of these rights is not a supernatural entity, but only the national and international laws in as much as they do guarantee those rights. At the national level, there is likely to be a constitution and other laws that at least are meant to protect the rights of the citizens. How well they actually do depends on the real-life situation and conditions in that country. On the international level, the problem is that there is no power equivalent to the monopoly of violence that the national government has. Instead, international law is based on contracts and is only as reliable as the countries taking on those contracts. For example, the International Criminal Court was founded by a treaty called the Rome Statute. It was given jurisdiction over only 4 types of crimes: genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and crime of aggression. The last refers to a state attacking another sovereign state, for example Russia, as it invaded Ukraine. That example also shows the impotence of the ICC to prevent those crimes, or even to punish the guilty. One could say that it is because there is no Leviathan. In its place is only the cooperation, such as it may be, of sovereign states. Within civilized states, rights are upheld. The existence of rights implies the existence of the duty to respect the rights of others. Besides that, there can be other duties based on contracts. In all countries, everyone has to pay taxes and obey all the national laws. In Finland, all men have a duty to serve in the military, although it is possible to choose a different kind of service as well. In exchange, the welfare state takes care of everyone by providing healthcare, education, infrastructure, and so on. Rights are typically categorized into positive and negative rights. The latter are the kinds of rights that guarantee liberties, such as the right of every man in Finland to roam, travel unrestricted, camping in the woods, eating berries, even fishing a little in rivers and lakes, regardless of who owns the land. This, I understand, is a rare freedom, globally speaking. One is allowed to move to live in a different town at will, choose a job, buy property and so on, without the government preventing that. One also has the right to marry, although legally one can only be married to one person at a time. These are just some examples of negative rights, also called freedom rights in Finland. If negative rights mean freedom from interference, positive rights provide freedom to something, like access to healthcare, education, or the provision of welfare. Positive rights are also meant to enable people to live with dignity and to get the necessary help from society when they need it. For example, minorities, such as immigrants or people with physical impairments, may be offered benefits tailored to their specific needs, in order to even the playing field a bit. Education in Finland is free to all citizens, which is one of the things Finland has been famous for during the past 2 decades. It is one of the most important positive freedoms here, because it applies to all through higher education as well. It enables people to get the education they will need in their chosen careers, thus increasing their chances of receiving good income, which in turn will lead to more tax revenue. Of course, the positions for students in higher education are limited, so not nearly everyone gets to study what they want. Brenda Almond, in her article Rights, provides the following questions and possible answers to make sense of what rights are. 1. What kind of beings can have rights? Possible answers. Those capable of choice. Those with the capacity to suffer. Those that have interests. Persons. 2. What kind of things can there be a right to? The answers to this question depend on the answers to the previous. That said, rights have to do with the actions of other humans, not, for example, the impersonal phenomena of nature. 3. What can be a justification for a right? The thought experiments about a state of nature or a veil of ignorance, already discussed in the previous video, are some attempts. Utilitarian arguments can also be used, although they cannot give priority to rights, as they support rights only as far as those rights maximize utility. In some cases, some rights could be sacrificed for the greater good, which is often exactly what the rights are supposed to protect against. 4. Are rights inalienable? Some rights, like life and liberty, may be considered fundamental, but others could perhaps be waived. 5. Are rights ever absolute? Rights may come into conflict with one another. For example, one may lose the right to freedom by threatening the rights of others. Your car may be confiscated, or you may be required to use it to help a person injured in an accident to get to a hospital. You will be required to pay taxes out of your income, and so on. At best, there may be few absolute rights, such as freedom from torture, according to the UN. Almond also lists types of rights as follows. 1. Claims. For example, the right to have a loan repaid. 2. Powers. A right to distribute property or in other ways to affect the rights of others. 3. For example, the privilege conferred by law by not imposing requirements, such as not being forced to give evidence in court against one's spouse. 4. Immunities. Protection from the actions of another, such as a worker's right to join a trade union without being sanctioned by their employer. Not everyone accepts the idea of rights, especially natural or absolute rights. Cultural relativists see liberalism as a mere Western way of thinking, no better than any other. Marxists may see individual rights as standing in the way of social progress, while conservatives may see them as undermining the integrity of culture and customs, for example by allowing the criticism of religion. Some, like Alasdair MacIntyre, believe that Western culture is too atomistic and ruthless, and wish to replace this way of thinking with an organic community. Communitarians like Charles Taylor insist that the community precedes the individual, completely the opposite of the classical idea of the state of nature. Also probably more accurate from an anthropological and biological perspective. This may lead to a holistic view of society, which can easily lead to the idea that the individual is less important than the whole, and that can lead, unfortunately, to the sacrifice of the individual for the good of the whole. The common good needs to be protected, and perhaps there can be too much emphasis on the rights of the individual. The protection of the environment is absolutely necessary, even for the survival of our species, which means that the rights of individuals to abuse nature and use it for their personal gain have to be opposed. Still, a lot of suffering has been caused when human rights have been denied. It does seem to me that the idea of such rights is a great achievement of human civilization and needs to be defended more, even if it is to be simultaneously tempered with the preservation of the common good. That's all I wanted to say this time. Until next time. If you wish to support my channel, please click thumbs up, subscribe and share my videos. Any comments on the videos would also be welcome.